Welcome back to the City Current Show. I'm your host, Jeremy Park. We're always honored to bring you inspiring stories of individuals and organizations making a difference and powering the good. And in this case, we're talking about art that feeds, using music and art and so much more to fight food deserts and to be able to make a difference. And so we're honored to be joined by Justin Levy. He's the Executive Director of Conscious Alliance. How are you doing?
I'm so good. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really looking forward to this conversation.
Absolutely. You're doing tremendous good, not only across Tennessee, but all over our nation. We'll talk about that. But before we dive into Conscious Alliance, really for you, making a difference starts before you were born. So give us a little bit of your personal storyline that kind of ties to this in a really cool way.
Yeah, I think for me, I was given a really great gift as soon as I was born. Right before I was born, my brain bled and I was born very early. So when I was born, it was kind of like the doctors told my parents, we have no idea what Justin's going to accomplish in life. We're just going to have to wait and see. So for me, there was no expectation, right? There was just opportunity.
When you look at being able to kind of have that sort of opportunity, that gift in a way where it's like, hey, there's no expectation over here, but now you can create your own destiny. How has that kind of played a role in your outlook of being able to power the good and make a difference and say, hey, I've got unlimited ability to be able to do good?
I was born with cerebral palsy and, it became very clear a little bit later that I was also very dyslexic and I didn't learn how to read till I was 21. I was lucky enough to have an incredible support system of doctors, physical therapists, teachers, so many people in the community. And really what that taught me was, hey, if people are willing to show up for me, I can show up for others in a very similar way, even maybe for a different reason, but in a very similar way, and develop a team to create positive change.
I love it. So let's go ahead and dive into Conscious Alliance, because when you talk about a team, positive change, seeing opportunities, showing up for others, that's really Conscious Alliance, how it starts, because you start looking around these concerts, you have all these people coming out and it's like, wait a second, what if we add some purpose to this concert and use it to make a difference? And so give us some background on Conscious Alliance.
Yeah, Conscious Alliance is a national hunger relief organization. We're a movement of artists, musicians, food makers, and music lovers on a mission to end hunger in underserved communities across the country. And what that means and how it started is by hosting a food drive at a concert with the string cheese incident at the Fillmore Auditorium in Denver, Colorado, 20 years ago in 2002. We worked with a poster artist, Michael Everett, who has now become very well known in the rock art community, but he created a poster for us. We, at that time, printed it at Kinko's, brought it to the concert, encouraged folks to bring food. The band encouraged folks to bring food, and it turned into 4,000 pounds of food being collected. The next food drive brought in 8,000 pounds of food, and we realized we had something going. And so the string cheese incident, their management company, Madison House, started introducing us to other folks in the music industry. And we started going on tour with national acts like Michael Franti and the Lumineers, the Dead, and so many others. And so that's brought us to Atlanta, to Nashville, to Asheville, to Chicago, working with Hunger Heroes, working with folks that are feeding people in their community every day. And we're lucky enough to harness the power of food, music, and community to make sure people are fed. So we're still creating posters. They're limited edition screen prints now. We have 100 artists on board, 100 musicians, and 85 food brands that are all helping us, spin the wheels of the trucks and make sure people are fed.
Absolutely. And talk about numbers at this point, because it's a huge number in terms of individuals, families served.
Absolutely. We're around 2 million meals a year being served. That's also 2 million pounds of food that we're stopping from going into the landfill, right? So, you know, food waste is such a big deal. Roughly 50% of food gets thrown away, and it's great food, it's quality food, it's healthy. And so not only are we feeding people who need it, we're also, providing a service for the environment. And um, it's amazing. I think what this shows is that no action is too small, right? Showing up at a concert with a bag of groceries can go a long way collectively. And if we all pitch in, we can get a lot done.
Talk about the logistics and how this works, because as you mentioned, you've got a large number of artists and musicians and bands that you're working with, and to pull all these pieces together, it does take a tremendous amount of time, effort, energy, and planning. And so talk about kind of logistics of how all this works.
Yeah, so we're working with a band. We get ready to host the food drive. We commission an artist who donates the artwork at no cost to us. We print the posters. The band starts promoting it. Folks know well ahead of time whether they're going to Red Rocks or the Ryman. They know to bring food. This is really caught on because not because of Conscious Alliance, but because everyone's involved, right? And it's an easy way to give back. So um, we're engaging hundreds of thousands of music lovers every year to give back. Then years ago, we realized that we knew touring and logistics, and we discovered that brands have an issue with food waste. Grocery stores won't buy their product within 90 days of its shelf life, let's say. So you have this great product that can't be sold because it's within 90 days of that shelf life. And so we started using all of our touring and logistics experience from going on the road with bands to pick up food from brands' warehouses and get it into the hands of kids and families. And it's all powered by the art and the music, the generosity of the food brands, and has really helped us grow to a national movement. And in 2021, we opened the doors to our national distribution center in Colorado.
When you look at having the National Distribution Center and obviously being able to magnify the effort, talk about kind of how it works in terms of getting the food to the individuals, to the families. So in other words, the collaboration with the community stakeholders in cities
Absolutely.
like Nashville.
Absolutely. It's all about the community stakeholders, which I call our hunger heroes, right? So I'll go back to those folks who are fighting hunger every day in their community, right? So we bring in different loads of food from food makers all across the country. Um, we have these incredible partners, uh, whether it be a food bank, a school, a community building, a free grocery store. And as the food and product becomes available, we see where it's located in the country, and we reach out to our partners, like in Nashville and Atlanta and so many others, and offer up these loads, and we'll deliver it, right? And then the real work goes in place. And so much respect for the folks on the ground, because the folks on the ground are the ones that know their community, they know their needs intimately, and they're there every day to support. So we're really lucky to be one spoke in the wheel to help make a difference.
Absolutely. I don't want to say a favorite because there's so many probably favorite memories and moments, but give me a couple that stand out to you in terms of either working with an artist or seeing the impact firsthand. What's a favorite memory for you?
You know, there are so many. I remember a big one for me was when the String Cheese Incident went back on tour and had one of their first stops at the Ryman, right? Getting to be in Nashville and working with that community. It's a beautiful venue, right? And the fans really turned out. It was around the holidays, and like I said, the String Cheese Incident was back on the road, and we felt the love, right? I think the other ones for me are just, you know, delivering protein to our partner in Chicago and knowing that by the next morning, he's cooking that food on the side of the street with a beautiful grill, making the best food and giving it out right there. Right. And so, um, not only supporting Conscious Alliance, but knowing that our efforts as a community are supporting so many communities.
Talk about the activation side, because obviously all of us can play a role. And when you talk about going to the events, the concerts, bringing the food, easy way to activate on our end as the public, you also have opportunities like complete 3 actions to be entered for a chance to win 2 tickets to any 2023 Live Nation show at Red Rocks Amphitheater. And so you've got all sorts of ongoing campaigns. Talk about some of those.
Yeah, look, if anything about what you've heard has inspired you today, I encourage you to go to consciousalliance.org/take action. As you mentioned, you can complete 3 actions like watching a video, learning about Conscious Alliance, learning about hunger. And just by doing that, you'll get entered to win 2 tickets at Red Rocks in 2023. If you haven't been there, it's a beautiful venue, and we're really looking forward to picking a winner and getting more people involved in the cause.
When you look at what you're doing in terms of the impact, but also I go to, you're teaching everyone that they can play a role, right? That they can be philanthropists in a very powerful way with very easy actions that are basically building into their routine. And when you talk about going to a concert, going grocery shopping, picking up some extra items, bringing to the concert, you're making it easy for people to realize that they can be philanthropists, that they can make a difference at any age. What does that mean to you in terms of the sustainability of people taking action and getting involved in the community?
I believe that we all want to give, and sometimes we just don't know how. Sometimes we feel stuck. And I think, what Conscious Alliance has created, and I'll say that I was one of those 18-year-olds who was a little lost, and I talked about some of my challenges. I talked about them at the very beginning, but I promise you that they've continued throughout, right? But I was that 18-year-old bringing food to a concert and getting inspired, and here I am 18 years later. So again, no action is too small. You don't know where it's going to take you, but we can all do a little bit, and together it makes a huge difference.
What are some of the visions for the future? You mentioned obviously having the national center now, the distribution center. So what are some other major goals?
Absolutely. One thing is I'll never put a ceiling on what's possible for Conscious Alliance. We started with 1 food drive with 1 band, and this year we surpassed 10 million meals served. So I don't want to put a ceiling on it, but I'll say that anyone's welcome, right? We're all music lovers, any artist, any brand, any band, everyone's welcome to participate. And again, one of the first things you can do if you're new to Conscious Alliance is go to consciousalliance.org/take action and learn a little bit more, get a chance to win tickets to Red Rocks.
Absolutely. Do you ever need volunteers for the events? When you talk about all the logistics and the moving pieces, do you ever need volunteers, especially at the local level?
Yeah, so we travel nationally with bands. You can always go to our website and see a current list of Art That Feeds food drives we'll be hosting. If you're interested in volunteering in your local city or interested in taking a road trip, you can reach out to us directly. There's a contact form right on the site, and we'd love to have you.
And then you mentioned it, but go ahead and mention it again, because you never can say it enough, especially in the world of media. But mention your website, social media. Where do we start going to learn more about Conscious Alliance, but also, as you mentioned, to start taking action?
Absolutely. So you can visit consciousalliance.org. You can also find us on all social channels as Conscious Alliance, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. And again, go to consciousalliance.org/take action to take your next step.
and wrap up with some words of encouragement, because obviously we're kind of, closing out this year, looking forward to a bright future ahead. What are some words of encouragement on your end to get people involved?
Again, it's kind of my mantra. No action is too small. We're getting closer to the holidays. Let's just all work together to make sure that more and more families have an extra special meal and an extra special holiday season. We can do it together.
Very well said. Well, Justin, thank you for all you and your amazing team do at Conscious Alliance. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for the opportunity to share our work.